Imagine if every challenge, every setback, every moment of uncertainty was not working against you, but for you. Imagine if life was secretly conspiring in your favor, shaping you, preparing you, positioning you for something greater. Most people live as if life is a battle to be endured. The wealthy, the successful, they live as if life is a game to be won. They don't wait for things to work out. They assume they already have. Now here's the truth. Your mind is the architect of your future. If you think in doubt, you will walk in hesitation. If you think in certainty, you will walk in power. The difference between success and struggle isn't luck, it's mindset. And the moment you start acting as if everything is unfolding in your favor, you start bending reality to match that belief. Most people live trapped in doubt, reacting to life as if they are victims of circumstance. But the winners, the ones who rise, who build wealth, who create a life of abundance, they act as if everything is always working out in their favor. And because they believe it, life bends to their expectations. When you begin to see life through the lens of gratitude, everything starts to change. It's easy to focus on what's missing, to dwell on what hasn't worked, to count the failures instead of the victories. But let me tell you something. Success doesn't come to those who complain about what they don't have. It comes to those who appreciate what they do have and expect more to come. When you act as if everything always works out for you, life has a way of responding in kind. Gratitude isn't just about saying thank you when things go well. That's easy. True gratitude is when you can give thanks even when things don't seem to be in your favor. It's looking at a setback and saying, this is a lesson, this is growth, this is leading me somewhere better. Most people let challenges defeat them, but the ones who succeed are the ones who understand that every challenge carries with it a hidden benefit. If you search for the lesson, if you train your mind to find the opportunity in every difficulty, you'll start to see that life is always working for you, not against you. Think of the wealthiest, most successful people in the world. They practice gratitude like it's a law of success. Why? Because they understand that appreciation multiplies results. What you focus on expands. If you focus on what you lack, you'll find more lack. But if you focus on the good in your life, you'll open the door for more good to come in. It's like planting seeds. What you water, grow. Years ago, I remember meeting a man who was struggling financially. He had talent, ambition, and potential, but he spent most of his time complaining about how life was unfair. He'd say, if only I had more money, if only I had better opportunities, if only things were different. And every time, I'd tell him the same thing. Start by appreciating what you have, because until you do, you won't get more. He resisted at first, but eventually he decided to try. Every morning he made a list of things he was grateful for, his health, his skills, his relationships, even the smallest wins. And something incredible happened. His mindset shifted. Instead of focusing on problems, he started seeing possibilities. Instead of waiting for opportunities, he started creating them. Within a year, his financial situation turned around. Not because the world changed, but because he changed. Most people believe that they need success first, and then they'll be grateful. But that's not how it works. Gratitude is the key that unlocks the door to more. You don't wait for life to give you a reason to be grateful. You give life a reason to give you more. The moment you wake up each day and start acknowledging the good around you, the more good you will find. It's like tuning a radio to the right frequency. If you tune into problems, you'll hear problems. But if you tune into possibilities, you'll start noticing opportunities everywhere. It's not just about being grateful for the past or present. It's about being grateful for what's coming. That's where real power lies. When you can look ahead and say, I know good things are on their way. I know everything is working for me. I know that success, wealth, and opportunities are flowing to me. You're setting yourself up to receive. It's not just wishful thinking. It's a mindset that attracts the very things you desire. Let me ask you something. How often do you stop and appreciate what's working in your life? Or are you too focused on what's missing? If you're waiting for circumstances to be perfect before you feel grateful, you'll be waiting forever. Success isn't built on waiting. It's built on a mindset that sees abundance even before it arrives. There's an old saying, to him who has, more will be given, but to him who has not, even what he has will be taken away. That's not just philosophy. It's the reality of life. Those who recognize their blessings, who focus on their strengths, who see opportunities instead of limitations, they keep receiving more. But those who only see lack, who dwell in negativity, who refuse to appreciate what they have, they push abundance away. So, start today. Make gratitude a daily habit. Every morning, before you check your phone, before you start your day, write down 3 things you're grateful for. Don't just think it, feel it. Let it fill you with a sense of appreciation. And then, throughout your day, look for more reasons to be grateful. Train your mind to find the good no matter what's happening. Because when you do, you'll start to see that everything really is working out for you. Success isn't just about working hard, it's about working smart. And gratitude is one of the smartest things you can practice. It opens doors, it shifts your perspective, and it attracts more of what you desire. So act as if everything is already working in your favor, because the truth is, it is. You just have to see it. Your mind is the architect of your reality. Everything you have or don't have began as a thought, an idea, a belief. Some people think success is reserved for the lucky, for the chosen few, for those born into the right circumstances. But that's not true. Success isn't about where you start. It's about how you think. It's about the blueprint in your mind, the plans you create through your beliefs, your habits, and your daily actions. Most people don't realize this, but the mind works like a factory. Whatever you program into it, that's exactly what it produces. If you fill your mind with doubt, fear, and limitations, don't be surprised when your life reflects those same things. If you tell yourself, I'll never be wealthy, I'll never succeed, or that's just not for me, your mind goes to work making those statements a reality. But if you start acting as if success is inevitable, if you fill your mind with certainty, with vision, with belief, something incredible happens. You begin shaping the habits, the decisions, and the actions that bring it to life. Let me ask you, who's in control of your thoughts? Are you letting circumstances dictate what you believe? The poor allow their environment to shape their thinking. When things go wrong, they believe it's a sign that success isn't for them. When they struggle, they assume that's just their destiny. But the wealthy think differently. They control their mindset, regardless of the circumstances. When things get tough, they don't retreat, they adapt. When challenges arise, they see opportunities. Their belief in success doesn't waver because of temporary difficulties. I remember a man who told me he could never be successful because he didn't have the right background, the right education, the right connections. He had a long list of reasons why wealth wasn't for him. But I told him, your excuses are just stories you keep telling yourself. If you want to change your life, you have to change the story. Instead of saying, I can't, start asking, how can I? Instead of focusing on what's missing, start focusing on what's possible. Your mind will either build a prison or a palace. It depends on what you design. The great thinkers of the past understood this. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor, once said, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. That was true then, and it's true now. If your thoughts are filled with doubt and fear, your life will reflect it. If your thoughts are filled with vision and belief, success will follow. Think of it this way. Imagine 2 people facing the same challenge. One says, this is too hard, I'll never figure it out. The other says, this is tough, but I'll find a way. Which one do you think will succeed? It's not about intelligence, luck, or talent. It's about mindset. The one who believes in possibilities will look for solutions. The one who believes in failure will look for excuses. Now, you might be wondering, how do I reprogram my mind? How do I start thinking like the wealthy? The answer is simple. Act as if success is already happening for you. Train your mind to expect good things. When you wake up in the morning, don't say, I hope today goes well. Say, today is going to be great. When you start a new challenge, don't say, I don't know if I can do this. Say, I'm capable and I'll figure it out. These small shifts in thinking create massive changes in results. I've seen people transform their entire lives just by changing how they think. One young man I met was stuck in a cycle of mediocrity. He worked hard but never got ahead. The problem? His mind was filled with limitations. He didn't believe he could earn more, so he never asked for a raise. He didn't believe he could start a business, so he never tried. But once he started acting as if success was his everything changed. He walked with more confidence, he spoke with more conviction, he took action he never took before, and in time, his reality shifted to match his belief. That's the secret most people never realize. Your mind creates your world. If you see yourself as successful, you'll take the actions that make it true. If you see yourself as limited, you'll never step beyond those limitations. So, what's your blueprint? What kind of life are you designing with your thoughts? If you're not happy with the results, don't blame the world, change the architect. Reprogram your mind to believe in success, to expect abundance, to act as if everything is already working in your favor. Because the moment you do, you'll start to see that life responds in ways you never imagined. Life is full of setbacks. No one is immune to them. Not the rich, not the poor, not the educated, but what separates those who rise from those who stay stuck is how they respond to these setbacks. The wealthy don't avoid problems, they use them. The poor complain about challenges, blame circumstances, and feel defeated, but the successful ask, how can I grow from this? Everything that happens in your life is either an excuse to quit or an opportunity to learn. That choice is yours. You can let failure define you, or you can use it as a stepping stone to something greater. The people who succeed don't have fewer problems, they just refuse to let those problems stop them. They act as if everything is working in their favor, even when it looks like it isn't. That mindset changes everything. Let me tell you a story about a young man who lost everything. He invested his time, his money, and his energy into a business that eventually collapsed. He was devastated. He could have said, "This is proof that I'm not meant to succeed." He could have given up. But instead he asked himself, what can I learn from this? He studied every mistake he made, every wrong decision, every missed opportunity, and the next time he built a business, he did it differently. He applied what he learned. He acted as if success was still inevitable, and because of that, he didn't just recover, he became wealthier than he ever imagined. That's the difference between those who succeed and those who don't. The unsuccessful see failure as the end. The successful see it as a lesson. Thomas Edison, the great inventor, failed thousands of times while trying to create the light bulb. But did he see those failures as wasted time? No. He said, I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. That's the mindset of a winner. Every mistake was a step forward, not a step back. Now think about your own life. How many times have you let failure stop you? How many times have you told yourself, I guess this isn't for me, instead of asking, what is this trying to teach me? The wealthy understand that every setback carries a lesson, and those who learn the lesson get ahead. I once knew a man who struggled financially for years. He tried different business ventures, but nothing seemed to work. He started believing he wasn't meant to be rich. But one day he made a decision. He would no longer see failure as proof that he wasn't good enough. Instead, he would see it as feedback. He began to analyze what wasn't working. He realized he had been repeating the same mistakes, expecting different results. Once he corrected those mistakes, everything changed. Within a few years, he built a thriving business. What happened? He didn't suddenly get lucky. He simply changed how he viewed setbacks. The truth is, most people fear failure more than they desire success. They tiptoe through life, avoiding risks, afraid to make mistakes. But the irony is, playing it safe is the biggest risk of all. Because if you never step outside your comfort zone, if you never push through difficulties, you stay exactly where you are. And that's the greatest failure of all, never reaching your full potential. The next time you face a setback, don't ask, why is this happening to me? Ask, how is this happening for me? Every challenge contains an opportunity, but you have to be willing to see it. When a door closes, don't waste time staring at it. Turn around and look for another way in. The successful don't wait for conditions to be perfect. They act as if everything is working in their favor, even when it looks like nothing. Now here's something to remember. When you start seeing obstacles as stepping stones, you gain an advantage that most people never will. You develop resilience. You become someone who cannot be stopped. And when you reach that level of thinking, success becomes inevitable. So ask yourself, will you let setbacks define you? Or will you use them to climb higher? Will you complain about the challenge, or will you extract the lesson? The choice is yours. But remember this, Every great success story was once a story of failure, until the person decided to turn it into a stepping stone. Doubt is the silent enemy. It creeps into your mind when you're alone with your thoughts. It whispers in your ear when you're about to take a step forward. It tells you that you're not good enough, that you're not ready, that success is for others but not for you. And if you listen to it, if you entertain those doubts long enough, they become your reality. Self-doubt is the great thief of potential. It robs people of their dreams before they even get started. It convinces them to wait for the right time, when they feel more confident, when they have more experience, when conditions are perfect. But here's the truth, the right time never comes. If you wait until you feel completely ready, you'll wait forever. Success isn't about waiting until you feel confident, it's about moving forward despite the doubt. I've met people who had incredible potential but never acted on it. They had talent, they had ideas, they had everything they needed to succeed except belief. And because they didn't believe, they hesitated. And because they hesitated, they missed their opportunities. Meanwhile, others with less talent but more belief stepped forward, took action, and succeeded. It wasn't their skills that made the difference. It was their mindset. So let me ask you, how many times have you let doubt stop you? How many times have you talked yourself out of a great opportunity because you weren't sure you could handle it? That little voice in your head, the one that says, what if I fail? What if I'm not good enough? That voice is a liar, and if you listen to it, you'll never discover what you're truly capable of. As she sat watching the world go by, something caught her eye. It wasn't so much its color or shape, but the way it was moving. She squinted to see if she could better understand what it was and where it was going, but it didn't help. As she continued to stare into the distance, she didn't understand why this The most successful people in the world aren't the ones who never feel doubt. They feel it just like everyone else. The difference is they don't let it dictate their actions. They act as if success is inevitable. They replace thoughts of failure with thoughts of possibility. Instead of saying, what if I fail, they ask, what if I succeed beyond my wildest dreams? That shift in mindset changes everything. I once knew a man who wanted to start a business but was paralyzed by doubt. He kept saying, what if it doesn't work? So he did nothing. Years went by and he stayed in the same place. Then one day, he met someone who had started a business just like the one he had dreamed of. But this man had taken the risk, and now he was successful. That's when he realized his doubt hadn't protected him from failure. It had guaranteed his failure. Doubt is like a chain. The longer you let it hold you, the harder it becomes to break free. But the moment you decide to silence it, everything changes. You don't need to have all the answers. You don't need to be fearless. You just need to take the first step. When you act as if success is already on its way, doubt loses its power over you. Henry Ford once said, whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. That's the truth. If you believe you can, you'll find a way. If you believe you can't, you won't even try. Your future depends on what you choose to believe right now. If you want to be successful, feed your mind with belief every single day. Surround yourself with people who lift you up, not those who reinforce your doubts. Read books that strengthen your mindset. Train your mind like an athlete trains their body. Because if you don't control your thoughts will control you. So here's my challenge to you. The next time doubt creeps in, don't entertain it. Don't negotiate with it. Replace it with a new thought. I am capable. I am worthy. I will succeed. The more you repeat that, the more it becomes your truth. And when belief becomes your truth, success becomes your reality. Life is full of surprises. Some days everything flows smoothly, your plans work out, opportunities come knocking, and success seems effortless. Other days, nothing goes as expected. The deal falls through, someone disappoints you, obstacles appear out of nowhere. Now, here's the real question. How do you respond? Do you let frustration take over? Do you react out of fear, anger, or disappointment? Or do you remain steady, calm, and in control? Success isn't just about knowledge or skill. It's about mastering your emotions. The poor let their emotions run their lives. They get frustrated and quit too soon. They feel discouraged and never take the next step. They let anger cloud their judgment, fear hold them back, and doubt keep them stuck. The rich, on the other hand, learn to control their emotions. They don't ignore them, but they don't let them dictate their decisions. They act with purpose, not impulse. Think about the people who succeed at the highest level. Are they the ones who panic under pressure? Are they the ones who explode in anger every time something goes wrong? No. The most successful people stay calm even in chaos. They know that reacting emotionally to setbacks only makes things worse. Instead of complaining, they ask, what's the lesson here? How can I turn this into an advantage? Many years ago, I met a man who had built a thriving business from nothing. He told me, the secret isn't just hard work, it's emotional discipline. He had seen people with great ideas fail because they couldn't handle pressure. He had watched talented individuals destroy their own opportunities because they let anger or fear control their actions. But the ones who made it, the ones who truly succeeded, were the ones who stayed steady no matter what happened. I remember a time when I made a bad investment. I had high hopes, but it didn't turn out the way I expected. I could have gotten angry. I could have blamed someone else. I could have let that failure make me bitter. But instead, I stopped and asked myself, what can I learn from this? That shift in thinking changed everything. I didn't waste time feeling sorry for myself. I used the lesson to make better decisions in the future, and because of that, I became wiser, stronger, and more successful. Here's the truth. Life will test you. Not once, not twice, but over and over again. There will be moments of disappointment, moments of frustration, moments when everything seems to go wrong. But how you handle those moments determines where you end up. If you let your emotions take over, you'll make poor decisions. But if you stay in control, you'll find solutions, keep moving forward, and ultimately succeed. The rich understand this. They act as if everything always works out for them, and because of that belief, they stay composed. They don't get thrown off course by a temporary setback. They don't let a bad day turn into a bad week, a bad month, or a bad year. They know that success is a long game, and the only way to win is to stay steady through it all. I once heard a wise saying, "He who masters others is powerful. He who masters himself is unstoppable." That's what emotional control is all about. It's not about suppressing your feelings. It's about choosing how you respond to them. When fear shows up, acknowledge it, but don't let it stop you. When anger rises, recognize it, but don't let it control your words or actions. When frustration builds, take a deep breath, step back, and find a solution. So let me ask you, are you in control of your emotions? Or are your emotions controlling you? If you've been reacting instead of responding, it's time to change. Train yourself to pause before you react. When something goes wrong, don't explode, don't complain, don't make impulsive decisions. Instead, stop and ask, what's the best way to handle this? That one question can change your entire future. Success isn't just about what you do, it's about who you become. And the person who can stay calm under pressure, make clear decisions, and keep moving forward no matter what, that's the person who wins in the end. Most people wait. They wait for the perfect time, the perfect opportunity, the perfect set of circumstances. They tell themselves, I'll start when I feel ready, or I'll take action when things settle down. But here's the problem. Success doesn't come to those who wait. It comes to those who move. Those who act despite uncertainty. Those who take the first step before they can see the whole staircase. The truth is, momentum is built through relentless action. If you want success, you can't afford to hesitate. Every day you delay action, you delay your own progress. The wealthy understand this. They don't sit around waiting for the right moment. They create the right moment. They take the first step, and then the next. And before long, they're running toward their goals while everyone else is still waiting. Many years ago, I met a man who wanted to start a business. He had a great idea, but every time we talked, he had a new excuse. The market isn't right. I need to learn more. I'm waiting for the perfect opportunity. Years passed, and do you know what happened? Nothing. He was still in the same place, still waiting. Meanwhile, someone else with less knowledge, less experience, and fewer resources went out and built a business. Why? Because they acted. The most successful people don't wait to feel ready. They don't wait for all the lights to turn green before they start the journey. They move, they adapt, and they figure things out along the way. That's how momentum is created. The first step might be small. It might feel insignificant. But once you start moving, something incredible happens. Opportunities start appearing. Resources start aligning. Doors start opening. And before you know it, you're on a path that once seemed impossible. I remember when I first started my journey, I didn't have everything figured out. I didn't have all the answers. But I took action. I started small. I made the first call. I read the first book. I took the first risk, and then another, and another. Each action built on the last, and before long, I had built momentum that was impossible to stop. Aziness was building inside her body. The key is consistency. It's not about one big effort. It's about daily, relentless action. Small steps taken every day create massive results over time. Some people spend years thinking, planning, and dreaming. Others take action every single day, even if it's just a small step forward. And guess what? The ones who take action are the ones who win. Think about a train sitting still on the tracks. If it's not moving, you could put a small block of wood in front of the wheels and it wouldn't go anywhere. But once that train builds momentum, once it's moving at full speed, it could smash through a steel wall without stopping. That's the power of momentum. And that's the power of taking action consistently. Some people say, but what if I fail? Let me tell you something. Inaction is the biggest failure of all. At least if you take action, you have a chance to win. At least if you try, you'll learn, you'll grow, and you'll improve. But if you do nothing, if you sit and wait, your chances of success are exactly zero. Success favors those who move. When you act as if everything is already working out for you, you don't sit back and wait. You take action boldly. You trust that your efforts will create results. You push forward even when the outcome isn't guaranteed. And because of that belief, because of that relentless action, you create the very success you once hoped for. So let me ask you, are you waiting or are you moving? Are you stuck in hesitation or are you building momentum? Every day is a choice. You can choose to wait and watch as others pass you by, or you can choose to act, to move, and to create the life you want. Don't wait for the perfect moment. The perfect moment is now. The people around you shape your thoughts, your habits, and ultimately your destiny. If you spend enough time around people who believe success is impossible, you'll start believing it too. If you listen to those who complain, who doubt, who settle for mediocrity, that mindset will creep into your own life. But when you surround yourself with people who think bigger, who expect success, who take action, something powerful happens. You start rising to their level. Your environment will either lift you up or pull you down. It will either reinforce your belief in what's possible or convince you to settle for less. The wealthy understand this. They don't spend time with people who drain their energy. They don't entertain conversations about why life is unfair. Instead, they choose to be around those who challenge them to grow, who inspire them to push further, who make success feel normal. Years ago, I met a young man who was struggling financially. He had the desire to succeed, but he was surrounded by people who laughed at the idea of building wealth. They told him, people like us don't get rich. They mocked anyone who tried to improve their life. And over time, that thinking became his thinking. He started to believe that no matter how hard he worked, he would always struggle. But one day he made a decision. He changed his environment. He started spending time with people who thought differently, who talked about opportunity instead of limitations. And something incredible happened. His mindset changed. His habits changed. His results changed. The truth is, you can't grow beyond the level of your environment. If you want to become wealthy, you need to be around people who think wealth is normal. If you want to succeed, you need to spend time with those who believe success is possible. The conversations you have daily shape your expectations. If you're around people who talk about growth, who discuss ideas, who push themselves, you'll start thinking bigger. But if your conversations are filled with complaints, doubts, and excuses, that mindset will seep into your life. I've seen it time and time again. Someone with potential gets held back because they refuse to change their environment. They say, but these are my friends, my family, I can't just walk away. And I understand that. You don't have to cut people off completely, but you do have to decide who has the most influence over your mind. There's a difference between loving someone and letting their mindset shape your future. You can love your family and still seek out a new circle that pushes you forward. The wealthy don't isolate themselves, they elevate themselves. They intentionally seek mentors, communities, and networks that reinforce their belief in success. They understand that success isn't just about what you do, it's about who you become. And the fastest way to become someone different is to be around people who already think, act, and operate at that level. Some might say, but I don't know any successful people. That's not an excuse. In today's world, you have access to books, seminars, and teachings that allow you to be mentored by the best, even if you've never met them in person. If you don't have a wealthy circle yet, start by immersing yourself in the mindset. Read books written by successful people. Listen to their words daily. Fill your mind with their philosophy. Eventually, as you grow, you'll attract the right people into your life. One of the most powerful decisions you can make is to audit your environment. Look at the 5 people you spend the most time with. Are they pushing you higher, or are they keeping you stuck? Are they challenging you to grow, or are they reinforcing limitations? If you want to predict your future, look at your circle. Surround yourself with people who expect success. Surround yourself with those who challenge you to think bigger. Surround yourself with those who remind you that everything is working in your favor. Because when you do that, success stops feeling like a far-off dream. It becomes inevitable. Wealth isn't something that happens to you, it's something you create. The majority of people live with an employee mindset, thinking, how much will they pay me? What can I earn? But the wealthy think differently. They don't ask, what can I earn? They ask, what can I create? There's a fundamental difference between earning and creating. When you earn, you depend on someone else to give you a portion of what they have. But when you create, you tap into an unlimited source of wealth. Most people are trained to think like employees from the time they're young. They are taught to work hard, follow the rules, and hope for a raise. But the truth is that mindset will never lead to financial freedom. If you only see yourself as an earner, you'll always be limited by what someone else decides to give you. You'll always be at the mercy of the economy, your employer, or circumstances outside your control. But if you start acting as if you are a wealth creator, everything changes. You stop looking for permission to succeed. You stop waiting for someone to hand you an opportunity. You start thinking differently. Many years ago, I met a man who worked hard his entire life, but never seemed to get ahead. He had skills, he had experience, but every time I saw him, he was frustrated about money. He'd say, they don't pay me enough. I can't seem to get ahead. And I told him, you're thinking like an earner, not a creator. If you keep waiting for someone to give you more, you'll always be waiting. So I challenged him. I said, instead of asking for a raise, look for ways to create value. Find a way to serve people, to solve a problem, to make something better. At first, he resisted. He had been stuck in the same mindset for years. But one day, he decided to shift his thinking. Instead of complaining about what he wasn't being paid, he looked for ways to create income outside of his job. He started a small side business, then another, and within a few years, he had built more wealth than his paycheck could ever provide. That's the difference. The wealthy don't think in terms of limitations, they think in terms of value. They don't wait for money to come to them, they go out and create it. And here's the secret, wealth always flows to those who create value. If you focus on solving problems, improving systems, or meeting needs, you'll never have to chase money. Money will chase you. But it all starts with a shift in identity. You must see yourself as a wealth creator. When you do, your actions follow. You start seeing opportunities everywhere. You stop thinking, I hope they pay me more, and start thinking, how can I create more? You stop waiting for permission and start taking ownership of your financial future. The wealthy don't have more opportunities than others. They just see them differently. While others wait to be told what to do, they take action. While others focus on security, they focus on growth. Some might say, but I don't have the resources to create wealth. That's not true. You have something valuable, your ideas, your skills, your ability to solve problems. The marketplace rewards value, and the more value you bring, the more wealth you attract. Think about it. Every successful person you admire started by creating something. So they didn't just work for a paycheck, they built something, contributed something, and in doing so, they unlocked financial freedom. If you want to transform your financial future, you must act as if wealth is something you generate, not just something you receive. The moment you make that shift, you begin looking for ways to create instead of ways to earn. You start asking different questions. Instead of, how can I make more money? You ask, how can I create something valuable? Instead of, will they give me a raise? You ask, how can I build something that pays me for life? That's how wealth is built, not by hoping for more, but by creating more. And when you adopt that mindset, success isn't a matter of luck, it becomes inevitable. Wealth isn't something that happens to you, it's something you create. The majority of people live with an employee mindset, thinking, how much will they pay me? What can I earn? But the wealthy think differently. They don't ask, what can I earn? They ask, what can I create? There's a fundamental difference between earning and creating. When you earn, you depend on someone else to give you a portion of what they have. But when you create, you tap into an unlimited source of wealth. Most people are trained to think like employees from the time they're young. They are taught to work hard, follow the rules, and hope for a raise. But the truth is, that mindset will never lead to financial freedom. If you only see yourself as an earner, you'll always be limited by what someone else decides to give you. You'll always be at the mercy of the economy, your employer, or circumstances outside your control. But if you start acting as if you are a wealth creator, everything changes. You stop looking for permission to succeed. You stop waiting for someone to hand you an opportunity. You start thinking differently. Many years ago, I met a man who worked hard his entire life, but never seemed to get ahead. He had skills, he had experience, but every time I saw him, he was frustrated about money. He'd say, they don't pay me enough. I can't seem to get ahead. And I told him, you're thinking like an earner, not a creator. If you keep waiting for someone to give you more, you'll always be waiting. So I challenged him. I said, instead of asking for a raise, look for ways to create value. Find a way to serve people, to solve a problem, to make something better. At first he resisted. He had been stuck in the same mindset for years. But one day he decided to shift his thinking. Instead of complaining about what he wasn't being paid, he looked for ways to create income outside of his job. He started a small side business, then another, and within a few years he had built more wealth than his paycheck could ever provide. That's the difference. The wealthy don't think in terms of limitations. They think in terms of value. They don't wait for money to come to them, they go out and create it. And here's the secret. Wealth always flows to those who create value. If you focus on solving problems, improving systems, or meeting needs, you'll never have to chase money. Money will chase you, but it all starts with a shift in identity. You must see yourself as a wealth creator. When you do, your actions follow. You start seeing opportunities everywhere. You stop thinking, I hope they pay me more, and start thinking, how can I create more? You stop waiting for permission and start taking ownership of your financial future. The wealthy don't have more opportunities than others. They just see them differently. While others wait to be told what to do, they take action. While others focus on security, they focus on growth. Some might say, but I don't have the resources to create wealth. That's not true. You have something valuable. Your ideas, your skills, your ability to solve problems. The marketplace rewards value, and the more value you bring, the more wealth you attract. Think about it. Every successful person you admire started by creating something. They didn't just work for a paycheck, they built something, contributed something, and in doing so, they unlocked financial freedom. If you want to transform your financial future, you must act as if wealth is something you generate, not just something you receive. The moment you make that shift, you begin looking for ways to create instead of ways to earn. You start asking different questions. Instead of, how can I make more money? You ask, how can I create something valuable? Instead of, will they give me a raise? You ask, how can I build something that pays me for life? That's how wealth is built, not by hoping for more, but by creating more. Most people want success, but they want it fast. They want wealth, but they expect it to come overnight. And when it doesn't happen as quickly as they hoped, they give up. They get frustrated. They doubt themselves. And in that doubt, they abandon the very process that could have made them rich. The difference between those who succeed and those who struggle isn't intelligence, talent, or luck. It's patience. The wealthy understand that success is a process, not an event. They act as if their success is inevitable, so they stay the course, no matter how long it takes. I once knew a man who wanted to become wealthy. He started a business, and for the first year he was excited. He put in the effort, worked long hours, and believed in his vision. But after 12 months, he wasn't seeing the results he wanted. He got discouraged. He started doubting himself, and one day he quit. A few years later, he looked back and realized something painful. He had been just months away from a breakthrough, but because he lacked patience, he never saw it. He gave up on the process before it could reward him. That's the tragedy of impatience. Most people aren't struggling because success is impossible for them. They're struggling because they don't trust the process. They plant seeds but never give them time to grow. They start a journey but quit before they reach the destination. And the reason is simple. They want proof before they believe. But wealth doesn't work that way. You don't get to see the full harvest before you plant the seeds. You have to act as if the harvest is coming, even when there's no sign of it yet. The wealthy understand this. They don't expect overnight success, and they don't get discouraged when results take time. They know that wealth is built through time, discipline, and consistency. They don't chase quick money schemes or jump from one idea to another, looking for shortcuts. They commit to a process and they stick with it. Consider the way a tree grows. In the early years, there's not much to see. It doesn't look like anything significant is happening. But beneath the surface, roots are growing deep, securing the foundation. If someone were to judge the tree's progress too soon, they might think it's failing. But with enough time and care, that tree grows strong and unshakable. The same is true for wealth. In the beginning, it might not look like much is happening. The effort might not seem to be paying off, but if you trust the process, if you stay consistent, the rewards will come. But here's where most people go wrong. They let doubt creep in. They look around and see others succeeding faster, and they start questioning their own path. They wonder, maybe I'm not cut out for this. Maybe it's not working. And the moment they start doubting, they slow down, they hesitate, they stop taking the necessary actions, and eventually they quit. Just like that man I told you about. The key is to act as if success is already on its way. Not if it happens, but when it happens. You don't wait until you see results to believe in the process. You believe in the process so strongly that the results have no choice but to come. Think about those who build great wealth. They don't look for quick money. They build businesses, invest wisely, and make decisions with the future in mind. They have patience. They don't panic at the first sign of difficulty. They don't chase every new trend. They stay focused. They trust that their efforts will pay off, even if they can't see the full picture yet. And this isn't just about money. It applies to every area of life. If you want a strong body, you don't go to the gym once and expect results. You commit to the process. If you want deep, meaningful relationships, you don't expect instant connection. You build it over time. The same principle applies to wealth. It's not about one lucky break or one perfect decision. It's about consistent, disciplined action over time. If you understand this, you free yourself from frustration. You stop chasing quick results, and instead you focus on steady progress. You stop letting doubt dictate your actions, and you move forward with confidence. And here's what happens when you do that. Opportunities align, your efforts compound, and over time, you create wealth beyond what you ever imagined. Most people hesitate to pursue success because they can't see the entire path. They want every step laid out in front of them before they begin. They ask, how will this work? What if I fail? What if I don't know what to do next? And because they don't have all the answers, they never start. But here's what the wealthy understand. Success isn't about knowing every step in advance. It's about acting with confidence, trusting that as you move forward, the way will reveal itself. I've seen it time and time again. People with big dreams, big ambitions, but they let uncertainty hold them back. They spend years analyzing, planning, thinking, waiting for the perfect conditions. And while they're stuck in hesitation, someone else with less knowledge but more courage is out there making things happen. The difference? One person is trapped in how, while the other is moving forward with vision. The truth is, the how unfolds as you take action. Imagine you're driving a car at night. Your headlights don't show you the entire journey. They only reveal a few feet ahead. But as you keep moving, the road keeps appearing. That's how success works. You don't need to see the entire path. You just need to start. Every action you take creates new possibilities, new opportunities, new directions you couldn't have predicted. But most people don't trust that process. They want guarantees. They want certainty. They want to know the exact path before they take the first step. And because they don't have that certainty, they stay where they are. They let fear keep them stuck. They let doubt rob them of progress. And the longer they wait, the more they convince themselves that success is impossible. The wealthy think differently. They act as if success is already in motion. They don't waste energy worrying about the unknown. They don't let obstacles they haven't even encountered stop them from moving forward. They focus on the vision, not the details. And because they take action, the right doors open, the right people appear, and the right opportunities come their way. Consider the story of a man who wanted to start a business but kept holding himself back. He would say, "I don't know where to start. I don't have the right connections. What if I fail?" So he waited, he studied, he planned. And 5 years later, he was in the exact same place, still waiting, still studying, still planning. Then one day he met a mentor who told him something simple. Just start. Take one step and the next will appear. So he did. He didn't have all the answers, but he took action. And guess what? Things started falling into place. He met the right people. He found solutions to problems he hadn't even anticipated. Within a few years, his business was thriving. The key? He stopped worrying about how and started focusing on doing. This is the mindset shift that changes everything. When you detach from how and focus on the vision, you open yourself up to possibilities you never would have seen otherwise. You stop needing certainty before you act, and instead you build certainty by acting. And here's the truth. Certainty is a byproduct of experience. You don't become confident by thinking about success. You become confident by taking steps toward it, no matter how uncertain things seem in the beginning. The wealthy understand this principle, and they apply it in every area of life. They don't need to know exactly how an investment will pay off. They trust that wise financial decisions lead to growth. They don't need to know every detail of how a business will scale. They trust that by starting, they'll figure it out along the way. They don't let fear of the unknown hold them back because they know that clarity comes from action, not from overthinking. But what about those who never take action? They stay trapped in the same cycle, worrying, hesitating, waiting for the perfect moment. And what happens? Years go by and nothing changes. Their dreams remain just that, dreams. And at some point, they look back and wonder, what if I had just started? That's a painful realization, and one you don't have to experience. Success isn't about having every answer before you begin. It's about trusting that as you move forward, the way will become clear. If you wait until you know every step, you'll never start. But if you act as if success is already in motion, if you commit to the journey, the right steps will reveal themselves. The opportunities will come. The people you need will appear. The solutions you're searching for will present themselves. So stop waiting for perfect clarity. Stop letting doubt control your decisions. Trust that by taking action, the right doors will open. Focus on your vision and let everything else unfold as it should. Because when you move forward with confidence, the path will always appear.